You may ask yourself, why are we still talking about gender parity in 2020? Women have the right to vote. Women can get an education. Women can create art. Women can build businesses. There's even a number of women starring in recent superhero movies like Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, and the Black Widow. And yes, there are a lot of things that women can do now. However, when it comes to the workplace, women still face many obstacles that men don't. I will dive into them later in this presentation. But first, let's get into some basic stats. You'd be shocked to learn that currently, on average, there is only 1 woman to 5 men workers at the C-suite level of companies. 1 in 5. Remember that statistic. 1 to 5. And there are only 33 women leading the Fortune 500 companies. That's only 6.6% of companies, and that's a record high. But those are corporate business facts. Certainly, arts organizations like theater companies are better, right? Nope. One study done on the League of Resident Theaters found only 15 out of 74 theaters had a woman as their artistic director in 2014, which leads us back to that 1 woman out of 5 men statistic. My presentation is titled Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling Through the Second Floor. The glass ceiling is an invisible obstacle blocking women's advancements into the management level of companies. Although some may argue that it is women's lack of ambition or motivation to achieve success in the business world, I believe the people in charge of companies in the business and theater industries have failed all women through the lack of opportunity for women in their companies to obtain leadership positions. As mentioned previously, women face obstacles in the workplace and in society that already make them less likely to hold management positions in theater and business environments. What gets in the way of women's success? The main three I will be focusing on are the double bind, pressure to be family oriented, and working in an unbalanced environment. The first one is the double bind. The double bind is the tightrope that women leaders are forced to walk on. If women are perceived as nice and warm and nurturing as they're expected to be, they don't show what it takes to move into a leadership position. But when they take charge to get things done, they're often seen as angrier or more aggressive than men. Women have to try and find a balance between being caring and authoritative. Leaning too far in either direction can throw off their careers. A second obstacle is the pressure to be family oriented. This plays a big factor. Women are being categorized as family caregivers and not breadwinners. Women start off in the business fields are more likely than men to sacrifice their careers to take the responsibility of raising their families because of societal pressure and pressure from their extended families. Because women historically were the ones who took care of the children, people force those stereotypes onto mothers today. And after women take a break from their jobs, they are more disadvantaged in their job searches than men as they are less integrated with professional networks, especially in male dominated organizations. So it hurts all women that there is more pressure being placed on women to care for their families at home in comparison to men. In the business world, networking is a key factor to success. When women pause their careers for years to raise children, they lose their opportunity to create new contacts that would help push them further towards success. And choosing to become a mother at all can greatly affect women's careers. Shelley Carell, a sociologist at Stanford, states when women work the same number of hours in the same type of job, with the same level of education, and are the same in other dimensions, mothers start earn about 5% less for each child they have than women without children. When people decide to have children, they need to be able to support those children with a good salary. It seems backwards that women get paid less when they have more people at home to take care of. It illustrates that companies don't like to work with women who have children. They may see them as being too much of a liability because their workers' main focus should be on work and not their families. Although there are select women that do decide to be full stay-at-home moms, it's not okay that women are labeled as being more family-oriented compared to men in their fields. Because of natural biases to hire workers that remind people of themselves, there are not many male C suite members that look for women to mentor. So the end result is women are less likely to be hired and promoted into higher positions. In addition, women who work in unbalanced work environments of men to women are 49% more likely to have their judgment questioned. When people's judgments and capabilities are put up to question like this, it makes sense why current C suite members aren't hiring more women into top executive roles. Women who work in unbalanced environments are also 20% more likely to be mistaken for someone more junior. Being mistaken for someone else negates a person's sense of identity, especially when being mistaken for someone in a lesser position. and these women are 24% more likely to receive degrading and unprofessional wisecracks. These remarks are meant to hurt and bully people. With so many obstacles already faced in women's paths to success, these statements can be deadly to a woman's career. So, how can companies create and manage a gender diverse company? I came up with three solutions. 1. Encourage workers to speak out and disrupt problematic workplace culture. 2. Actively hire and mentor diversity onto teams. And 3. Update company policies regularly. Businesses should encourage gender diversity in their fields to prevent gender discrimination and to keep them competitive in the changing market. Gender discrimination is described as treating a worker negatively or in a different manner because of their gender or sex. This type of discrimination can also occur when an individual becomes associated with a particular gender or sex. It just so happens that the people who are affected the most in the workforce by gender discrimination are women and those who are non binary. Related to organizations, this gender discrimination can have very negative consequences for the company. The first reason is employees may start to develop low self esteem because they feel they're not being cared for properly. Workers who are happy to come into work every day are far more likely to support their company. The second reason why companies should avoid gender discrimination is it can lead to friction between the business and employees. Lawsuits can be very expensive, and when businesses are trying to generate as much revenue as possible or raise as much money as they can to support their arts, every dollar counts. Workers should learn how to identify workplace discrimination and have a plan to action. The goal should be to speak out and disrupt problematic workplace culture. Honest and open communication in every place of a business can encourage people to stand up against things they identify as wrong. Current employees and top management should be actively hiring and mentoring diversity. Change starts at the top of companies, it does not start at the bottom. Some may argue that women can navigate their own way through the glass ceiling, but this is not a problem that women should be facing on their own. To create change anywhere is much more effective if people who are in the place of privilege support those who aren't. Focusing on the lack of women in management positions, current managers of companies should play their part by actively trying to find women mentees within their companies. These people, mostly men, need to mentor these women along and help nudge them down the right path to survive the world that we're currently in. The second thing that companies should do is after they hire diverse people onto their teams, they should promise to maintain those employees. The great thing about hiring diverse workers is that they will naturally hire more diverse workers in the future. But just hiring a diverse workforce does not necessarily mean that all those people are going to stay with the company. Employers need to learn how to better manage gender diversity, become a fairer management. Not only do employers need to hire and mentor gender diversity, but they should cluster women and other minority groups onto teams. All too often, people in minority groups are split up and scattered throughout a company. Although this is done to make several teams look more diverse at first, it hurts those minority members. People who are the only members of their identified groups on one team can feel vulnerable and less supported than those in the majority who share similar experiences. By grouping these minorities together, they can help support one another and make sure that their opinions and ideas are being heard. Companies need to realize that one is not enough. One person of a minority group on a team should not be enough. What businesses should do is update their company policies regularly. Some companies create policies and then cease to keep them updated or actually follow them. This is not a healthy way to run a company. Examples of policies that may need to be updated include, but are not limited to, dress codes, work leave, and salary/benefits. How people dress is a constantly changing field, and it's odd for an entire industry to consider a couple types of fashion to be professionally acceptable. Work leave should also be equal for both women and men. If two people decide they want to raise a child together, their work should give them the option to contribute equally. Companies can help support their employees through paid family leave and subsidized childcare. Concerning maternity and paternity leave, they should both be available and offered to employees. Only offering maternity leave discriminates against the men in the businesses and enforces the idea that women are the main caretakers of children. Salaries for men and women should also be fair on top of benefits like these. Women only make 82 cents to every dollar a man makes. Businesses need to recognize this as a problem and make efforts to close this pay gap. Although the gender diversity in the workforce has improved in recent years, there are still many areas in which a company can increase their knowledge of gender diversity issues. It should not be up to women to navigate through the glass ceiling by themselves. Women are not the problem. It's the company's past and current practices that are preventing women from gaining top positions. Corporations can help fight for equality by reviewing their hiring methods and how they treat women within their organizations. There are plenty of qualified women that would help businesses achieve success. Companies need to break down that glass ceiling from the second floor. Thank you.